Hello, good evening, and welcome back to JACKOCAR. This is the Kia series, and you are listening to the sultry tones of the man that very recently just called himself the Tottenham of JACKOCAR, Gareth Hall. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome. Good evening. Good to have you along, whenever and wherever you're watching from. We are in for a long old evening here. It's going to be a bit of a quiet one, because I've got no Owen once again. He's decided to go out partying with his uni mates. So, the priorities obviously lie very much outside of JACKOCAR for Mr. Wyatt himself. So, disappointing. As I said, I'd tell everyone. But, nevertheless, you've still got me, which means it's a stream worth listening to. But I do thank you for all joining us. Whether you're going to filter into the stream now, make sure you let me know if you can hear me, if you're watching loud and clear. Equally, who is here tonight? We've got, as Kai drops in, evening Kai, how you doing, mate? And Leroy saying that he wants Owen. That's the first person to ever say that. But we want Leroy, clearly. The league is crying out for it. We've got a small one tonight, which is disappointing, and there's no excuses for those of you that are in Kia to be not racing tonight. If you're not racing because of the fact that it's Singapore, then shame on you and shame upon your family for the next 4 generations. I love this circuit. I really enjoy racing around here, and I'm expecting to see 2 people do well tonight around here, and that is Mr. Jamie Bromley himself, Splinter 24, and of course Yuri Haslager, the former champion that won here in VSL, beating myself last season. So we know that Yuri is pretty handy around here. Clear skies above Marina Bay. I'll get up the data for you so you can see everything that you need. You don't need that. You need that. There we go. And you need that, as for the race engineers out there that are going to be watching around about 20 seconds delay to everyone else. But good evening. Everyone's starting to come in here as we've got... Quinn wants me to check my DMs on stream. So it's no, don't worry about it, Quinn. Honestly, don't worry. I actually really enjoy doing it on my own. But you're welcome to come in. But it means I get to abuse these people as much as possible. But in fact, actually, Quinn's serving. Is Quinn serving a race ban? Are you serving a race ban? I'm pretty sure Quinn's serving. He is. You are, aren't you, naughty boy from last week, Quinn, for the transgressions from last week, going into AI for 42 seconds. I believe that's around about 37 seconds too long. So you're welcome to jump in with me, Quinn, but I'd have to jump off screen. But we've got a quiet one. It is, as I said, 13 people in. OKK's managed to jump in with us, so that's good, because that stops us from going down to 12. We've got a couple of people that just haven't bothered to say anything, like Wace. Surprise, surprise. But of course, we've got the rest of our likely lads in the likes of Yuri, Jess, Jacko, Michelle Gorris, Harry Collier's back for this one, Matt Shepherd, Matt Rosemond, and Ben Harrott's in here. Good to see Ben's in here as well, as he comes back for a second Kia race. I believe he had one last season. I'm sure he'll be able to convince me otherwise if that's not the case. Marcus Schneider, Baz is in here. Of course, Jamie Bromley, who is Splinter. Rico Beckenkamp is in P12, and Michael OKK in P13. So as I just look through my notes, we've got time to kill, trust me. We really, really do. So I'm going to try and keep it relatively interesting. We've got 11 minutes and 45 is when you're meant to see Wace out on circuit. Can you see Wace in the lobby? So you're going to be waiting until Marco Schneider. So Marco, who is Mikshu, 47, he'll be coming out at the 11-minute mark. So Singapore Grand Prix, let's fill some time. And it's not as... this isn't as bad as the time that I had to fill when I was covering Fab Racing. And we had a rain delay out on circuit, and we had a 2.5-hour break to fill, and it was interesting when you're basically just staying streaming and you've got a producer in your ear just going, just keep talking, and you have to do that for 2.5 hours. So if all of you remember that race in Spa a few years ago, where Crofty and Martin Brundle basically talked for, I think, what was it, about 4 hours, or around about 4 hours. You have no idea how hard that is to do that. And I know Crofty gets a load of jabs from everyone saying he's not a very good commentator, but he is an excellent commentator, and he's also a very good broadcaster. To be able to talk without making really much sense for that long and fill time is a very, very hard thing to do. So, as you can tell, and this is what I'm doing, I'm filling time. There's secrets of the trade there. But track length, 5 was 13th longest on the F1 calendar. I'm going to go through all. Distance to turn 1 is 200 metres from P1. That's 0.124 of a mile. The longest of the season is Barcelona, which is 730 metres. Actually longer than... is that longer than Mexico? Apparently it's longer than Mexico. It says it's here that it is, but I would have thought that Mexico was longer. Because, of course, now we don't have Russia. Longest straight is 832 metres long. That's 0.5 of a mile on the approach to turn 7. And, of course, that's going to be changing because this is the last time, at least for a while, you're going to be seeing this layout because the entire of the third sector will be changing in this, hopefully in this upcoming game. But, you know, Codemasters probably say they don't have time to change it because they're already building one circuit. Is in Las Vegas, and supposedly I imagine they'll release it in DLC, saying they haven't had time in this really, really busy. What's it been like 7 updates or versions they've released so far? I think last year they got up to at least 14, but it doesn't feel like they've done too much of this one. But top speed 305 kilometers an hour, it's 190 miles an hour on the approach to the braking point in the first sector, and that is turn 7. And then we go up to 47% of the time on full throttle. Highest of the seasons is 75% at Monza, as to be expected. And the longest period of uninterrupted full throttle is 9 seconds. It's a 1.9 kilogram per lap fuel consumption. Whether now or not that will mean anything to you lot, not quite sure, as we've got a car slowly starting to come out, and I believe that will be Ben Harrett, who might have taken Wace's position. So we will go down and see. Is it Mr. Harrett himself? It is. That's good to see. So good to see Ben out on circuit. ERS around here, medium. You can, of course, you can recover because there are quite a lot of heavy braking zones, and gear changes. It is quite a high 80 over the lap, and that is 4,880 over the race distance. Highest of the season in terms of shifting up and shifting down. Now, out on the circuit, we've got Ben Harrett, and Ben... Oh, do I have a profile that I've got for someone else that isn't here? Let's have a look. Here we go. Well, in fact, you can use Waze. So Ben Harrett, out on circuit, making his return to the Kia series. Did you know? Yes, the driver profiles are back after people were saying they enjoyed them last week. So we'll trial them to see if I can do a couple per week. That Ben Harrett is currently the Chief Financial Officer of Panasonic. However, he lost £14.2 million in the 2008 financial crash, and was actually the reason for Toyota's exit from F1 due to the sponsorship pullout. So, yeah, shame on Ben for taking Toyota and that massive failure of an F1 team out of Formula 1. But he's out on his outlap, and flick through screens, and I've got exactly the same lookout. But here we go, in towards the really the sort of the what is going to be the old circuit, as we will now go straight on from here, but now we will be going to the right to the left, and to the left to the right, and to the right to the left to end the lap, and that is from 15, 16, 17 under the bridge here at 18 and 19 with the crowds on either side. And then on the exit of this sort of elongated bus stop, almost like you saw in the old Spa, and down through 20 and 21 into the final two corners, 22 and 23. Used to be the most amount of corners in F1 until Saudi Arabia took over, and I think the new Saudi Arabia that they're trying to build, I think it's got 37 corners. So I'm sure all these Middle Eastern countries are just keep trying to outdo themselves. Of course, you've got Qatar making their new circuit as well, and they're probably just going to build more and more corners just to say they've got the longest one in F1. But what can Ben Harrett do on his first and only flying lap here in the JACKOCAR Kia series? It's a purple sector 1, who would have thought, and it's an invalidation immediately afterwards. So it's unfortunately it's going to be a back of the grid start for Ben Harrett, and he clips the wall for good measure, but not the end of the world with a lack of people. So let's go on board with Michael Okeke. And Michael Okeke is currently under review from his employers at Aston Martin F1 after their third place trophy from Bahrain went missing moments after he was seen taking a photo with it. So if anyone sees a trophy on the table for the Cup Championship 5 winner at the end of the season, make sure you check the nameplate on it, because it might actually have Fernando Alonso Bahrain Grand Prix 2023 written on it. We will be keeping an eye on this and staying in touch with Lawrence Stroll. He has been putting out a message on Facebook wanting its return. But what can OKK do? Can he keep it on the black stuff, keep it between the two white lines, and get himself onto provisional pole position? And OKK is just about kept it out of the wall there. And but Michael is a guy that is in desperate need of a little bit of good luck. Of course, he's really kind of had a bit of a torrid time in the Cup Series over the last sort of season or two. Just missed out on a race win in Silverstone, going into the penultimate corner, just banging wheels with Jamie Numbers. He goes very deep there into the bus stop chicane and kicks the rear end out like a bucking bronco. But yeah, Michael just missed out on the race win that he probably deserved out of that one. It was very, very close, and he's going to clip the wall for good measure going into the final two corners. But what can KK do as he comes up to the line? It's been scruffy, but it's going to be provisional pole position. It's a 140.857, so I'm expecting that to be beaten as we go on throughout the evening. Marco Schneider, and Marco, who is out there tonight in the black and the almost the Racing Point style pink livery. And we've got, as Kaya says, remember that Marco's the Joker. Yes, I know, I've got it written down, don't worry about it, I'll be going through that later on. But Marco out there as well. And what we got written for Marco, and it was very nice of him. Marco is actually the groundsman for the Bundesliga 2 team FC Nuremberg. And that's actually true, by the way. Genuinely, that's actually true. He's the groundskeeper for FC Nuremberg. So that's quite cool. He actually got the job, however, by showing that his singing voice encourages grass growth by 19% over a 12-hour period. When not racing, he's singing vibrato across the pitch after a game to recover the grass growth. So well done to Marco Schneider. He's tonight's Joker, and he is currently out on the circuit completing his lap. And of course, if you're new to JACKOCAR, I'm sure by now the majority of you have watched it all before, so you're just listening to me say the same thing over and over and over again. But I will, for maybe the one or two of you that are just tuning in going, what on earth is this? Well, this is JACKOCAR. It is an F1 NASCAR hybrid league, and we run a one-shot quali, but it's slightly different to the one shot that you have in the game. It is, you get one out lap, one flying lap, and one in lap to do your time. It's a 43.3 for Marco Schneider, so not a great lap there from him. You get one flying lap, and then of course, as you've heard me say earlier, the Joker is one race per season where you can elect to do one stop. It is a mandatory 2-stop for everyone else, but it is one stop when you're on your Joker, and for this week Marco's decided to go for Singapore, so expect to see him run long in the first stint, and it's all going to be about safety cars and who comes into play at the end of this one. And it's a rule that will be changing, so keep your eyes on the Discord and in the Twitter chats, and well, we'll try and explain it to you. It does get a little bit convoluted, but we'll make it make sense, don't worry. But we now pay attention to what Rico is doing out on circuit. And Rico is currently out there in around about Sector 2, just approaching Sector 3 now as he goes into the double bus stop. And Rico is actually using the name Rico because it's short for Ricochet, a legendary gunslinger. He performs shows worldwide, catching bullets between his teeth. So yeah, if you want to know why it's Rico, there you go, short for Ricochet. As he comes into the final two corners, kisses the apron on the inside over the curbs, up to the line. It's going to be a 41.8. So the times aren't electric, so it's not actually a bad time for OKK at the moment, because even though he seemed to be all over a place, it's currently put him a couple of seconds ahead of both the guys behind him. Over to Matt Rosemond. Now, Matt, what can you do out on circuit? Did you know, as I look through the history books as he goes into the hairpin section at turn 13, that Matt Rosemond actually wrestled for the World Wrestling Federation back in the 1950s, and he was the first ever man to submit Hulk Hogan during a World of Sport tour in the mid-70s. He's actually due to celebrate his 93rd birthday next week, making him the oldest league racer currently in the UK. Running his Colton Herta livery. In towards the exit and under the bridge he goes. What can Matt do? Of course, race winner in Monaco last season. And he will be looking at beating OKK Sayava 140.8. And he's tracking to do that currently. This looks like it's going to be about high 30. 38, 39. He's looking for a 38. He's just over it. So 39.177. Provisional pole position for Matthew Rosemond. Now down to Mr. Ricketts and Jacko. What have you got for us this evening? It's not really been a season to remember so far for Jacko. He's kind of not lit up the timing sheets like we were maybe expecting him to after his debut win in Saudi Arabia last season. And did you know Jacko was actually born with the name Susan, but he decided that Susan car didn't really have a great ring to it. He currently races on a 23,000 full motion simulator. But he's often so motion sick that he vomits profusely over himself whilst racing. So he's got all the gear but no idea. And that's very much always been the case with Jacko. But into and out of the bus stop and now under. We seem to catch everyone here at exactly the same point as we go underneath the bridge at turn 18 and through turn 19 into 20 and 21. What can Jacko do? He's tracking to... It looks as though he's tracking to at least match Matt Rosemond's time. In fact, it's looking a little bit slower. It might be a 39. It is going to be a 39. It's a 39.8. So second position for him. And 7/10 off of Matt Rosemond. So not a great lap time there. But what it does mean is it puts him up ahead of the likes of... In fact, Bazza, sorry, I do apologise, Bazza. I missed your lap time. Bazza's done a 41.2. So there's me. We've barely got an E1. I've still managed to miss someone as I was sitting on board with the wrong person, or either you went out at the same time as someone else and you both crossed the line at the same time. Matt Shepherd, however, he is on a lap, and Matt Shepherd, who actually had the worst debut in Cup Series history, didn't even manage to make it to the start-finish line. I think I'm pretty sure got taken out almost immediately off the start, so he'll be looking for a slightly better run in this one. Matt Shepherd's actually currently deployed as a special operative in MI6, and he's actually been sent to JACKOCAR to create a dossier on a potential war criminal, but it's not actually known which one of the Kia drivers that he's creating the dossier and shadowing at the moment. So your guess is as good as mine. There's someone out there that clearly needs to be followed, and Matt Shepherd is the one. And I'm sorry that I've just broken his cover, but you all do have to be worried or be slightly concerned about him, because he knows his stuff. He's got a license to kill, and he chooses not to use it. But Matt Shepherd, what can he do as he enters and exits turn 19? Of course, running that, probably my favourite livery, I think, so far, this PNC Bank Scott Dixon livery. The blue, the yellow, the orange and the white, up to the lines, 39.222, 222.220. And that puts him currently P2 on the grid. Now, who have we got on circuit? We have got both Jess and Jamie Bromley, and Jamie Bromley is out there and he's currently circulating on the hard tyres. Yep, I don't know either, but he's decided he's going to go and put himself at the back of the grid. Pulls over to the side as well, as we've got Jess on a flyer, so we'll check in with Jess for this one. And what could Jess do? She's maybe not had the season she was hoping for after a very strong season last time out, where just missing out on the Championship 5 by one singular point. And Jess is actually currently in the process of building a home-owned and home-built hypercar, which she fully intends to enter the World Endurance Championship in 2025, with the backing of a Thai billionaire that's completely anonymous. In fact, there's rumours that she's intending to recruit her partner Liam as driver, after seeing his lap around Silverstone a few races ago in a different league. So, big news coming out of the Ball household. So expect to see that one rivaling the likes of Ferrari and Toyota and Glickenhaus in a few years' time. What can Jess do? She comes around the final two corners, keeps it within the white lines, and it's going to be in the mid 40s, low 40s. It's a 41.9. That puts her P7. Michel Goris is out on circuit as well. Splinter is into the box, so he is not setting a lap. And then we've got Yuri out on circuit. So we'll go to Yuri first, because of course he is further ahead on his lap. So, Yuri Hasselager. He isn't really Dutch. He was born in Belgium and he resides in Luxembourg, but he's actually paying Leroy to pretend that he's his brother because he's actually wanted by Interpol for massive tax fraud. He's also a trained pilot, but he's terrified of flying, so he's never done it. He just dresses up in the uniform whilst playing flight sim in his bedroom. But what can Yuri do? Is he slides his way out of turn 19 and making his way around this third sector. Michel Goris is out on circuit as well. And we're going to have Splinter at the back. We're also going to have Ben Harrett at the back. Harry Collier serving a qualifying ban, so he will be starting with no time as well. But what can Yuri do? Should be going provisional pole, and does go provisional pole by almost a second. I was expecting to see that time coming up from him. But what can Michel Goris do? Michel, who will be wanting to rival Yuri's time, the pair of them very evenly matched. He's actually got his own business called Fake Ambulance. It's like the fake taxi videos you see on certain websites, but instead of giving out pleasure, he forcibly takes kidneys from each one of his passengers and then uploads the video to the dark web. And by doing that, he's actually taken pole position by a hundredth of a second. So there you go, close at the top, a 38.252, takes pole position ahead of Yuri by 13 thousandths of a second, and Yuri will be disappointed on perhaps that slide coming out of turn 17 that cost him a potential pole position there, but it is an extra 2 points going the way of Mr. Michel Goris himself as he adds to his playoff counter with the pole position. Ending the qualifying session. There we go. We just about managed to get through that one. As I'm trying to keep up with everything that's going on, trying to look at notes, trying to look at everything that's going on, and looking at the comments. Hopefully you're all enjoying this one. As I said, it's me on my own for this round, so hopefully you won't be too bored with the rambling. I will try and keep it as relatively interesting as possible, but it is an all-Dutch front row with Michel Goris and Yuri Hasselager 1 and 2 with a 38.251, your pole position 13 thousandths faster. Then we go a second down to Newgarden and Matt Shepherd, who equally had a very similarly matched time in P3 and 4. Jacko P5 with OKK P6, Barry Baldwin P7 with Rico P8. Jess is P9. Rounding out the top 10 is Marco Schneider on the Joker tonight, and of course no time set for Harry Collier, Ben Harrett and Jamie Bromley. So we will find out if the likes of Jamie, the likes of Ben Harrett can do anything from the back of the grid, as we double check in with what's going on through the rest of the table. And well, it is currently a decent start for Yuri Hasselager, who leads the overall points with 27 points and 6 playoff points. Matt Lester, with his 1 appearance, 20 points, and of course no wins, no races since then from Matt, but he has advanced after winning that race. Sits there on 20 points. Then we've got oh sorry, no, this isn't in points order. This is in what order is OKK done this in? There we go, 20, 27, 20, 29, 23, 22. It's advanced, but it's Michel Goris that leads on overall points. Then it's Yuri, and 29 for Michel Goris and 27 for Yuri. But Robin Baldwin in P3 overall, which is decent for Robin because he's kind of been a bit anonymous so far, but he's not here tonight, which is a bit of a shame. Then Jess on 22, Danny Quinn on 20, serving a race ban tonight. Matt Shepherd on 19, Jamie Bromley on 18, and then under the cutoff is the likes of Jacko, Cloud, Matt Roseman, Barry, Rico. Victor Souza's not here tonight, unfortunately. Harry Collier, Marco Schneider. Of course, we've got Isaac Adama, Thomas Nevitt, and Wace is not yet able to race with us. But 4 seconds left to go. We're about to jump into the formation lap and find out who has got the pace around this very, very long street circuit. It's going to be the longest race on the calendar. Of course, it's one of the longest lap times as well, and there's only 13 of them tonight, so we've got no excuses for safety cars. There's barely anyone to hit, so of course people will claim that there's walls, but I don't think it's much like Monaco where you're actually travelling relatively quickly. This one, if you hit a wall, then you've got no one else to blame but yourself. But saying that, I will have just jinxed it, and we'll get a 7-car pile-up off the start, and we'll be commentating over 3 people by the end of it, I'm sure. But 31 laps will be undertaken here around the Marina Bay circuit, nestled in Singapore. It's a beautiful city and a beautiful part of the world, and many people I know that have gone over to the Grand Prix have said it is a must watch if you ever get a chance to go out there and catch it. And I would myself, if you can go to one of those hotels with like a nice little hotel pool on top of the roof, grab myself a nice cocktail, just sit there and watch cars go by. Maybe not so much of the screams from the likes of the V8s and the V10s back in yonder years, but that somewhat drone of the V6 turbo hybrid wouldn't be too bad, as you would be enjoying yourself a nice drink in some usually nice weather. I would say I say usually nice weather because sometimes you do tend to see that monsoon style rain come down at Singapore, but it looks as though we're not having that this evening. I've not had any provisos to say otherwise. Saying that, I've barely seen the comments because I have been looking at various other things as I've got you. I do tend to is word in there somewhere. I do tend to, there we go, try and look at the comments as we go on, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bits of paper with my notes in front of me. I've got the stream up in front of me, I've got my laptop to the side of me, and I've got 3 other bits just to the side on the floor. So that shows you that I do try and keep up with everything that's going on. I do try to have standings and all sorts of rule changes around me, and but once again, once I've got my OBS sorted and working, that should all be negated, and we should all get a lovely race where I can just press a button on my stream deck and it will just pop up for you. And I can also potentially send you to ads whilst I go off and enjoy myself and just make you feel like you're going to have to watch an advert, even though we're not making any money from it. Yuri gets disqualified from P2, screening start about 2 feet back from the pit box, so that's going to help the likes of Matt Shepherd behind him as everyone filters in position. Jacko was trying to take the Fernando Alonso line there and was parked about 4 miles away from his grid slot, but he's decided better of it and got a nice slap on the wrist from the stewards for that, and Bowser gets a disqualification, and Jamie Bromley does as well. But here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause, lights out, and here we go, sending it down to turn 1 for the Marina Bay Singapore Grand Prix as part of JACKOCAR Kia Series, and it's a good start from the front 2 as they go side by side into turn 1, but it is Michelle Goris that holds on to the lead. Yuri in second, Matt Shepherd in P3, Matt Roseman P4, Okeke holding P5. It looks as though we've not seen too many changes behind, and there we go, a couple of changes for position as Matt Shepherd now gets passed by Newgarden for P2. And in fact, we're almost 3 wide there as OKK tries to look around the outside of Matt Shepherd, but the door is probably going to get closed, and there you go, he has to take to the runoff area, and that's going to open the door for Ben Harriott, who's had a storming start from the back of the grid up to P6 already. So Ben Harriott flying off the line. And he's on the back of OKK now. I would imagine that the pair of them will be in the same party together as 2 ART drivers. And who likes to see guys discussing strategy in a party? It's disgusting. Team Speed would never. As Ben Harriott now sits behind OKK, and will he get the OK to move past? Because, of course, OKK on the medium rubber, Ben Harriott on the soft rubber. Soft is not a massively ideal tyre around here because it does burn out very, very quickly indeed. So you can see softs for Michelle Goris, for Matt Shepherd, Ben Spurs, Rico, Bazza, Harry, Jess and Splinter, but of course you can stop on the end of lap 3, so you can get rid of them, so I'm expecting those guys on the softs to come in at that stage. And then of course everyone on the mediums will be running to the first stage and then coming in a little bit later on, but it's a good getaway from Michelle Goris, and now leads this one by 1.7 seconds. Newgarden 1.7 back, then Matt Shepherd still trying to stay with him as we've got a change of position between Mick Schumacher, who's already into the box, and so Marco on his Joker is going to slow it down. It's one of the slowest pit lanes on the calendar at just 34 miles an hour, the same as Silverstone. As back up to OKK is now closing in on Matt Shepherd. So what can we see is everyone's starting to spread out a little bit here as the lead growing for Michelle Goris, and I would expect that on the soft tyres. He needs to really burn through this rubber as soon as possible. But Yuri in second position is still 1.5 now ahead of Matt Roseman. Matt Shepherd's trying to stay with Matt Roseman for P4, and then OKK and Ben Harriott being dragged along by the pair of them. So this is the battle. 2.4 seconds now back to Rico. So he's starting to fall off the back of Ben Harrett. And Ben, the full-time Cup driver, along with Mike Okeke as well. And what can they do from 5th and 6th position? Oh, around goes Matt Shepherd on the throttle and unfortunately drops himself down to what will probably be 8th position if Harry Collier looks as though he's not going to get too close. So Harry will be just behind him. But a shame there for Matt Shepherd, who was running well, started well. But what that does do is promote the ART pairing of Michael Okeke and Ben Harrett up to P4 and P5. And now onto the back of Newgarden. So as Jacko gets past Jess, as Marco, perhaps with front wing damage because he's gone onto a set of medium tyres, as Michelle is out of the race. Where's that? How on earth has that happened, Michelle? That's going to bring out a safety car for sure, and it does, as he's gone round the final corner. Presumably, he's hit the curb on the inside and turned the car around, because that's a big old impact there, because he's taken off the front right wheel as Harry Collier gets a 5-second time penalty speeding into the pit lane under the safety car as well. Harry, what are you doing? You literally could have walked across that line and you wouldn't have got anything. But new nose cone for him as well. So new nose for Harry. Marcus Schneider is going to be at the back of this one. Jacko pitted, so that's a non-mandatory stop for both Harry and for Jacko. So they don't have to worry about that. But what it does mean is Jacko now goes onto a set of soft tyres, so he's going to go all guns blazing on the soft rubber. But wow, that's an interesting twist in this one. It kind of gets rid of one of our race-winning protagonists. But with that happening, what it does do is open up a space on the podium. So if you're the likes of Okeke, you'll be very happy with that indeed. If you're the likes of Newgarden, who's equally had a good start, you'll be quite happy with Michelle Goris. But if you're Michelle Goris, that's not what you want at all. Leading the overall points in the championship, well, tonight he will be taking a big old bagel home with him. 0 points to add to his tally, as we now sit behind the Mercedes safety car. We're going to go back to what safety car is nicest, the Aston Martin or the Mercedes. But, well, hopefully you'll all enjoy this one. This is the third round of the season of the Kia series as part of JACKOCAR. JACKOCAR, of course, a two-tier series. You've got the quicker tier, the top tier, the Cup Series on a Thursday evening with Jack Ricketts and usually Owen White, but could be a number of ex and current drivers in with him at the moment. And you can catch it on Thursday at 7 o'clock every week until the end of the season in mid-May. So make sure you do tune into that one. It is very, very good indeed. This week we have got an excellent race coming up after we had a very, very fun Hungary race in which most of the grid and the field stayed behind me for the majority of it, whilst I basically tried to hold everyone up to hopefully get a late safety car and make my Joker work. Didn't quite work, but the rules will be changing, and the Jokers are back in play. So good thing last week didn't go terribly wrong for me in the final stages, and I get to get a do-over with it. But make sure you do join us on Thursday for that one as we head to Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix, as Yuri almost collects the back of the safety car there. There's a yellow flag on the back of that safety car for a reason, Mr. Haslager. Follow what it says and don't go too quickly. He's clearly paying too much attention. He's being hypnotised by the flashing yellow light on the back of it as he's moving ahead of... we've got a Speed 1-2 at the moment, and then we've got an ART 3-4. Rico in P5, Bazza in P6, ERT driver, and of course we've got Matt Shepherd, Jamie Bromley, Jess, VSR. Are VSR still around? Are they still a thing? I'm pretty sure they used to be a thing back in like 2017 through 2020, but you don't really see anything with VSR anymore. Kind of all melted when when all the esports stuff kind of blew up, and all these supposed teams just came out of nowhere and said they were paying people to be their engineers. Who pays someone to be an engineer on a game like this? You're 20 seconds behind when you were being an engineer. It's almost impossible to be an engineer on this. You just kind of have to go, yeah, I think what you think. So, but yeah, well, the world is the oyster for many, and And yes, people do very strange things. I mean, I'm watching people play a video game and trying to make it interesting for you. Hopefully I'm doing that. But the world of esports is a very strange place, and we shouldn't take it seriously, but we should have fun doing it. And that's hopefully what you're all doing, and you're all having. Safety car in this lap. It's Yuri from Matt Roseman, from Michael O'Kake, from Ben Harrett, Rico Beckenkamp. Then we've got Barry Baldwin, Matt Shepard, Jamie Bromley, Jess Ball, Jack Ricketts, Harry Collier, and Marco Schneider. So, and that only works, me saying their real names, if you're all JACKOCAR fans / drivers and you kind of know who's who. But I do tend to use real names rather than PSN names. I really wish the game would let us implement that, and you could use your real name rather than Weedmaster 42069XXX and various other stupid PSN names that we see. But what is Yuri going to do is actually stretching out a bit of a lead over Newgarden. So Matt's going to have to get his foot down relatively soon, because we're going to go anytime from that line now, I believe it is, on the final corner. But Yuri's waiting until we go, and then gets a good launch, does Yuri, and up and on the throttle very, very early behind. Ben Spurs is looking to the inside of OKK, but Michael clears that one off. Matt Shepard gets up past Bazza as they trade positions over 7th and 6th position. And everyone else seems to have filtered their way through the first turns of this restart very, very nicely indeed. Now, safety car means no mandatory pit stops can be made, so I'm expecting those that started on the soft tyres to be end of this lap as OKK weaving to try and get some extra tyre temperature back in to those tyres. And of course, under the safety car, your tyre temperatures absolutely fall through the floor. One of my favourite tactics is basically just to everyone's used up their tyre life, bringing the tyres up to temperature for a safety car restart. It's just to crawl up to the line and make sure it drops back down to 70 degrees, so it basically becomes a lottery back at turn 1. We've got a change of position as Jacko is now up past Bazza, so Bazza falling backwards off the start down to P9 now, as OKK still sitting there behind Newgarden. No one really going on the offensive just yet, and there's no real need to for OKK. He's sitting there on the medium tyres. Ben Harrett has had a bit of a moment coming out of turn 13 at the hairpin, and he's lost 2 seconds to OKK there, so perhaps getting on the throttle a little bit too early, lighting up the rear tyres, and he's now fallen into the clutches of Matt Shepard and Rico Beckenkamp in P5 and P6. Let's see, have we got, do we have any decent battles? Everyone looks like they're relatively split. Oh, no, KK is going to be right in the middle as everyone's going to scatter. And unfortunately for Michael KK, that's another of our top runners that has gone into the wall and out of the race and brings out another safety car. Wow, so that is P1 and P3 in this race that have already taken themselves out, and we're only on lap 6 of 31, so a real shame there for Michael, because it was shaping up to be a decent race for him, just where he needed a bit of a confidence booster before we head over to Spa on Thursday. But what it does do, and not helpful for those that are on the soft rubber, is that the softs really don't like it around here, and for the likes of Ben all the way down through to Jess, apart from Jacko, of course, did his first stop on the under the first safety car, is that these soft tyres are going to have to go another couple of laps until we go back green again. But the benefit is that we are now at 11 drivers already. I did say we'd be at 3 by the end of this one, but we're now at 11, but everyone is bunched back up, so in theory we could go this time around. So whether or not that will happen, I don't know. I'd imagine we'll probably do one more lap, because the game tends to have it out for at least a lap. But your guess is as good as mine. But hopefully you're all enjoying it out there. Make sure you check out the streams here on YouTube by clicking subscribe and checking all of the Cup and Kia series out in the playlists. Go to the live section, you'll be able to find out all the live streams. Of course, if you'd like to get involved, and if you're new and you think, you know what, I quite like Kia, go to @JACKOCAR2, that's the number 2 on Twitter, and Mr. OKK, the man that's formerly in this race, will be able to answer any of your questions and forward you on to Mr. JACKOCAR himself, Jack Ricketts, who will be able to see if you're eligible, let's say, as we've got a bit of a dearth of drivers at the moment. 13! No excuses. I'm holding you all accountable for missing this one, for everyone that missed it. Unacceptable. We want to have full grids here. That's what we're all about, full grids. We're not here for 13 drivers / 11 drivers / ending like we did in Baku a few seasons ago, where I'm pretty sure we ended up with 2 people. But yeah, I don't sign up to this whole don't race because of certain track things. I think that's a wussy thing to say to try and be politically correct, because I mean, I like Singapore, but there's something I don't know. Something that definitely motivates me, like JACKOCAR, with simulation damage being at a street circuit, you've got to be at your absolute best. So there's no reason to challenge yourself by going into league racing and then just choosing what tracks you do and don't want to race at. But 7 of 31. 7. We're only on lap 7 of 31. And so we've got a heap of racing left to go. We're not even a quarter of the way through this one just yet. And we're under our second safety car? Third safety car. Second safety car. But Yuri, definitely now the odds-on favourite. On the mediums, he will most likely stay out and take the first stage as well, which we'll just double check to make sure that, because that will be his thoughts. He'll be thinking stages 8 and 16, so at the end of the next lap, so not this lap, so not as it ticks over to lap 8, it'll be the end of next lap, will be the first stage, so 1 playoff point going the way of the person that drives around and crosses the line at the end of lap 8, leading the way. So an extra playoff point to add to your tally come the start of the playoffs which will be starting relatively soon, actually, much sooner than you'd think, because of course it's a slightly smaller calendar here in Kia than it is over in the Cup Series. So we have over the playoffs starting on the 2nd of May over in Brazil. Just 4 races in the playoffs. Brazil, Austria, Bahrain and Britain before we head to Australia for the Championship 5. So next week we've got Throwback Week. So Throwback Week means everyone will be choosing and running a throwback livery. That can be a livery from basically anything, whether that be 2 wheels, 4 wheels, 6 wheels, 12 wheels. It could be anything. It's, as long as it is an iconic or a throwback livery. It's something that is happened in yonder years and has a little bit of nostalgia to it. We tend to see the guys bring out their creative side of livery designing. As Yuri's now going to let the safety car disappear up the road before he starts to get back on the loud pedal. And what can he do on this restart? Doesn't want to light the rear tyres up because he's still got Ben Harriott on the softs behind, but of course those softs will very much be coming towards the end of their tyre life. And Yuri will be starting lap 8 of 31 and his second safety car restart. So weaving. Is he going to do the same thing as last time? Is he going to wait, no, he's going to go a little bit earlier this time, and it is once again another decent restart for him. Behind, Jamie Bromley's making his way forward after his start at the back is up to P6. He was looking to the inside of Rico but doesn't get the move done. Behind, Harry Collier and Marcus Schneider swap positions over 10th and 11th, but it is another good getaway for Yuri. Matt Shepard now sitting behind, and he's going to go in the wall. Gosh, how did you get out of that one? That was a jump off the throttle, but that's going to open the door now for Rico Beckenkamp to get down the inside and take the position. Matt Shepard's not going to give it up, though. He's going to send it back down the inside and does take it. So decent position there. Jamie Bromley thinking better of it to let these guys fight between the pair of them. But yeah, Matt Shepard did a great job there not to throw it in the wall. You can see it was going wider. He washed out, turned in way too late, got off the throttle, and basically just coaxed the car around turn 4, sorry. And well, we've now got a bit of a safety car, or a bit of a train, a bit of a train forming. My words just come out when I'm commentating. So Matt Shepard now holding up the likes of Rico, Splinter, Jacko is sitting there as well. But of course, Jacko pitted under the safety car first time around, so he has done a few laps less on the soft tyres, but he's still going to want to do a mandatory stop to start with. Marcus Schneider's Joker is already done, unless he's planning to take those mediums to the end, which is unlikely because he stopped under the first safety car. But do we see people jumping into the pit box this time around? Do we see Ben Harriott deciding to jump in? Yes, we do. So I'm expecting to see the majority of all the soft runners in. Matt Shepard's in. Jacko's in. No, Jacko isn't in, sorry. Rico is in. Splinter stays out. Well, no, Splinter comes in, sorry. Everyone jumping up and down through the timer screens. But we have got Rico stacking behind Matt Shepherd. That is unfortunate. If only the game told you who your teammate was. But do we get... Oh, we've got Jess stacking behind Splinter as well. So that's 2 cars having to stack. Jess doesn't have to wait as long. So it's only going to have cost her about 2 seconds or so. But Harry Collier onto hard tyres. So he's decided to go for the hardest compound and run them long into the race. So interesting there from the pair of them as Bazza now comes out behind Splinter, and the gap's now starting to form, which is not what you want when the DRS is about to get enabled. As out of the box comes Harry Collier on those hard tyres. Now, if I'm Harry, I'm bringing those up to temperature like you're looking after a newborn baby, because tyre temps are very, very hard to get up to temperature on this game. Of course, it's not like the old one where you could just go out, jam the throttle on, and they would have come out the tyre warmers a nice temperature. You have to really take care of these ones, because you will have, effectively, those that are running medium TC will feel like no TC, and those that are running no TC will feel like you've only got about 2 wheels on the car. As Matt Shepherd trying to close up behind Bazza. Bazza really looking after these tyres on the restart. You can see Matt Shepherd feeling a little bit more comfortable. Is he going to throw it down the inside going into the hairpin? Thinks better of it, but Bazza's going to go deep, and that's going to open the door for Matt Shepherd to get on the battery. Bazza's going to be defending, and he is, but DRS now enabled as across the line comes Yuri. Down the inside goes Matt Shepherd, and a lovely move there, takes the position up into P7, recovering after losing a few positions earlier on in this one. So, a couple of gaps forming, which means we've got time just to have a look at how everyone's doing. So we've got Yuri leading by 1 point. We've got in the wall. We've got Ben Harrett, who's flat spinning the car. Has he got wing damage? He's now gone behind Jamie Bromley. It looks as though he's got away with it. He's got both his end plates, but that's a shame for Ben Harrett. Just perhaps hitting the curb on the exit of turn 21, and flat spinning brings out a yellow flag, but only localised. No safety car or VSC required, and he can now get back after Jamie Bromley. So I was about to tell you about Jacko, what he's doing up there in P3, but we'll just see if Ben Harrett's got some decent pace. He's already used half his battery, and he's using a little bit more to try and stay with Jamie Bromley. He has got DRS, so will allow him to close back up. Jamie, of course, Mr. Consistent here in JACKOCAR, tends to try and do the right thing and outthink his way into decent positions, but I mean, we've talked about this before, though. Jamie Bromley, majority of the time, I'm pretty sure I don't even know if he has done so far this season. I know he said he was thinking about it. Runs stock setups. I don't know why either, because of course you do lose out massively when it comes to grip, to tyre temps, if you're not running stock setups, even if you're just stealing them from someone else. Yeah, it's interesting to see, but I'd be fascinated to hear if he's running a stock setup here. But he has got Ben Harrett closing in 0.8 of a second, so he hasn't romped up to the back of him like you'd expect. But Jamie Bromley has done well here in the past, has tended to run well at Singapore. So it's very much a case of easy to close up. Maybe it won't be as easy to pass for Ben Harrett and Matt Shepherd, who's all equally. Sorry, I really am struggling at the moment. Equally trying to catch up. He's about 2 seconds off the back of these guys. So Splinter, there you go. Fastest lap of the race as we've got into the wall. Harry Collier. Is that going to bring out a safety car? Yes, it is. And that's Harry without a front wing, and that's Harry with no hard tyres to use for the rest of the race. So that strategy did not work, my friend. New nose cone for you, non-mandatory stop and a set of medium tyres, I'd hope. But a third safety car in 10 laps. We're going to be running through them. I'm pretty sure you only get 5, and there's 6 slots, so we're allowed to have a few more. And you've got 21 laps left to go. But at least we've still got all 11 of the 13 that were racing after the first 2 retirements in the race. New tyres, what's it going to be? It is medium rubber. And there you go. New front wing. And he's going to get released back out onto the circuit. And he does stay on the lead lap, which is all important here. If you drop a lap down, it's basically curtains for your race. And you might as well sit at the back and cry yourself to sleep, because you just have to come into the pit lane or allow yourself to return to the back every single time. There's no unlapping yourself. The safety car does not let you go if you're a lap down. It is very frustrating, but well, what can Harry do on those fresh mediums now? Everyone else in front of him has done 2 laps, so they're relatively similar. That hard strategy did not work for Mr. Collier. But into the box, however, does come Yuri and Jacko. So Yuri goes onto a set of soft tyres. Jacko is going to go onto a set of soft tyres. So he's running through his softs. And he's realised, I'm not going to lose a position here, because Marco Schneider is in the wall and he's now got rear wing damage. That's not how you reverse your car. And in fact, what that does is going to make the rest of your race appallingly hard if you reverse into a wall that hard. But he doesn't lose a position. But what he will do is lose himself a heap of downforce. And there you go, as he straight lines turn 1. And actually comes out in front of Jacko. So Jacko probably doesn't want to be there, because Mick Schumacher, Marco Schneider, is going to be like a boat going into some of these faster corners in this one, as most likely at least yellow if not orange rear wing damage for that contact. Of course, simulation damage model, so it is very, very unforgiving. And Jacko, I thought he wasn't going to lose a position. I'm pretty sure he thought he wasn't going to lose a position as well. Now finds himself in P4. But what this does do is really open up the door for Yuri. He's still going to make his 2 mandatory stops, but of course he can just push a little bit on these soft tyres. Everyone else has made theirs. So Jamie Bromley, Ben Harrett, Matt Shepherd on the medium rubber. So is Yuri thinking long game, potentially getting short-term reward for long-term gain? We'll have to find out. And Marco Schneider almost into the wall at a Tech Pro. The entry there at turn 14. So clearly struggling. Yeah, you can see there's clearly issues with the car for Marco. He's clearly got severe damage. Is there wing damage? It looks as though he might have been missing an end plate. He is missing a front left end plate as well. So that'll be front and rear damage on that car. So that's not one you want to be around at a safety car restart. He's going to be into the pit lane, which is the smart thing to do if you're Marco Schneider. Get out of the way, get that front wing change, get onto a different set of tyres, perhaps a set of hards here. It's tricky to say. You don't really want to be on hards with rear wing damage, but what's it going to be as he comes up to the line? And we're going to be coming up to the second stage soon. Yuri took the first stage, and it's lap 16 for the second stage. So Newgarden currently on the route to picking up that stage point. Does he try and hold off Yuri? Of course, there's the pair of them that are going to be fighting over it. Jacko's going to want it as well, as Marco makes his stop in and out. And Harry Collier's half a lap behind at the moment, so he's got a while to go to catch these guys up. But so it's going to be these front 3 that are going to be battling out over this next stage, I would imagine. Of course, Yuri and Jacko with the benefit of the soft rubber. Newgarden sitting there on the mediums. Now, whilst Yuri and Newgarden are both Team Speed members, if I was Matt Rosemond, there's not a chance I'm letting Yuri go, even though he's on the soft rubber. Do not let him past, and that's not because I want Yuri to. I don't want Yuri to walk away with this one. It is because every point counts in the playoffs. And if you're Matt Rosemond, if you've got the chance of leading and taking a playoff point from leading the second stage, then you've got to take it. So he's going to make that car about 8 or 9 feet wide around this circuit. And Yuri did tell me just before the race started that at some point tonight he's going to make a move into the hairpin at turn 13. There you go, it's foreshadowing. So we'll be on board with him. And we'll see if he does that on his teammate, his stablemate in speed. The safety car restart. He's going to have a massive, massive amount of grip compared to Speed Newgarden as well. And I mean, that was a flash that indicated it looked like there was rain. But might have just been a bit of a screen tear. We'll just keep an eye on it. But you never know with these screen tears if it's an actual screen tear or if it's potential rain coming down. I don't think it looks dark enough to be raining, but you never ever know on this game. Safety car won't be in just yet because, of course, Harry Collier is still trying to catch up to the back of the pack. He's 20 seconds back. So far, we're on lap 13 of 31. We've lost race leader Michel Goris and P3 Michael Okeke in separate incidents on lap 2 and lap 5. So congratulations, guys. You've almost gone 10 laps without a retirement. But Ben Harrett is into the box under the safety car for a new nose. Onto a set of soft tyres, new nose for him, and he will fall to the back. So congratulations, Harry, you've made an overtake, because Ben Harrett now goes to the back on soft rubber. So that's a non-mandatory stop. I've completely lost count of who's done mandatories and who's not done mandatories, so I'm going to have to take your word for it, guys, and there will be no JACKOCAR currently, because it would be almost impossible for me to go back and check the stream while streaming and do it and keep a relatively coherent. I know I've basically been babbling away this evening and tripping up my words, just because every time I look away from the screen I kind of lose my train of thought. It's very easy to do this when you're either sitting next to someone or you're continuously looking at something. If you're trying to look around for things to talk about or fill time, it's actually quite hard because you lose your train of thought, and as soon as you do that, then you tend to just do this when you're like, there's a word in there somewhere. But safety car will come in at the end of this lap, hopefully. Ben Harrett. Ben's trying to keep the safety car out as long as possible. I know what you're doing. I'm on board with you, Benjamin. We can see the game plan here. Let's see if he notices. Let's see if Michael Okeke is in the ART chat saying, he's on board with you, Ben. He can see that you're driving slowly so that it keeps the safety car out. Oh, there we go. Congratulations, Ben. Welcome to the race. Safety car in this lap. Oh, that hasn't worked, has it, Ben? As he's now going to have to gun it on these tyres to get up to the back of the pack. As Ben Harrett now, he's going to have to do the lap that Lewis Hamilton did back in, what was it, 2018, 2019. But safety car restart. Yuri, he's going to sit behind Matt Newgard. Matt Newgard, he'd wishes. Matt Rosemond. And Matt's going to get us restarted. And on the old mediums compared to the new softs. So, of course, Yuri, non-mandatories to get onto those softs. So he's still got to make his 2 mandatory pit stops. What is Matt Roseman going to do? He's letting the safety car come in. He's gone a little bit quicker compared to Yuri. The safety car's still in there, so he can't go just yet. He will be throttle limited, but around the final corner, waiting. Wait until you straighten the car up. Don't light the tyres up, and off he goes. So who gets the jump? It's a good restart for Matt Rosemond. Then in second position, Jacko is already defending from Jamie Bromley. He takes the inside to block off the move from Jamie Bromley in P4. Matt Shepherd equally P5. So change of position briefly there between Rico and Jess, and then Harry Collier and Mick Schumacher have changed places as well as Marcus Schneider on the hard tyres. As side by side goes Matt Shepherd and Jamie Bromley into turn 5, but doesn't manage to get the move done. But already making the move around the outside goes Yuri. Go on, Matt, fight him into the corner. Is he going to go side by side? Going to show him the door, gives him the outsiders into the next corner. Who's got the inside line? This is risky between the pair of them. Well done, Matt Roseman. Fantastic battling between the pair of them. Nice and clean. Just a slight tap to make it difficult for Yuri, but Yuri did say that he was going to send it tonight into the hairpin, so let's stay on board with the Dutchman and see what he can do. In fact, he's not Dutch, did I say? I see he was born in Belgium. But here we go, into the hairpin. Is he close enough? I don't think he is. No, he thinks better of it as Matt hugs the apex on the inside line. So Yuri is burning that battery. He knows that he needs to utilise these soft tyres whilst he can, but he's not close enough. And in fact, Jacko is equally the same, held up behind Newgard. Oh, Jamie Bromley's gone round, and that is a multiple car crash behind. We've got several cars in. That is clumsy on the way out. That's just hurt Ben Harrett as well. And will that bring out VSC for debris on track? I'm not sure it will. But into the wall as well goes Marcus Schneider. He's flat spinning his way back around. Sorry for the quick spin. And we got another safety car. Of course we do. But Matt Rosemond now takes the stage point for as he will lead lap 16. So he won't take it this lap, but he will take it next lap. So congratulations, Matt Roseman. He takes a playoff point to his tally. And the man from Cambridgeshire will be leading this one for a second safety car, as we are now on safety car 4 And that was very, very messy. I believe Jamie Bromley went around. Whether or not there was contact between himself and Matt Shepherd, I'm not sure. But then when recovering, well, it was almost 4 wide, which was never going to happen. And, well, everyone waiting. Everyone with front wings. Everyone probably with side pod damage as well. Marco Schneider's team are going to be running out of front wings. They're going to be running up and down the paddock trying to take some spare bits off of everyone. But back out, P8, P9, P10 and P11. As I said in the previous safety car, at least they're still in the race. That's the best I can give you guys. At least they're still in the race, but now 34 seconds to catch up to the back of the pack. They'll do that under the safety car, but we are just over halfway through this one. Can you believe it? Can you? I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're having fun with this one. Hope you're enjoying it. Drop into the comments. Let me know if you are also. Equally, make sure you drop a like on the video. It does help. Honestly, it does help. I work in YouTube. Well, not in YouTube, don't work for YouTube, but I work with YouTube often, and liking the video helps it get recommended. And well, if there was ever a race to get recommended, it is a JACKOCAR Kia race, trust me. We'd like to see some decent views. We've had some good ones in other leagues like VSL recently. I'd love to get in JACKOCAR. I'd love to get JACKOCAR up. Like, it's only got 128 subscribers. It's crazy, because this is a million times more exciting than PSGL. Way more exciting than watching esports weebs driving around nose to tail for 25 odd laps and then overtaking on the last lap and then complaining that someone's cheating when they're most likely all cheating because they're all racing at home and there's no anti-cheat, and they don't do LAN because of course they don't do LAN because that would be too expensive for the game and various other people to pay for. Did I say that out loud? But anyway, hopefully you're all enjoying it. As Davis is in here, good to see you, Matt. It's a long way to beat Portugal for yourself. Well, yeah, unfortunately for some, there maybe aren't the stewards' inquiries that we've seen in VSL, where there's heaps of controversy apparently if you're in specific teams. But yeah, we'll see if the stewards get inundated with calls after this one. I don't think we've had too many incidents, really. There's been a couple of mistakes from the likes of Michel Goris and Michael Okeke, and then, I mean, that one there, potentially, you could say that 4 wide wasn't ever going to happen, but we will see. That was a hard one to call. You'd have to look back at the POVs of everyone. But we're under safety car. The lap counter has moved over past 16 onto 17, which means officially Matt Roseman has taken the second stage and playoff point for that. So playoff point going to the pole sitter, and that was Michel Goris. And then, of course, you've got 1 going to Yuri and 1 going to Matt Roseman. The next one goes to the fastest lap. Who holds that? Good question. Let's find out. It's Ben Harrett down there on a 142 flat, so about a tenth of a second faster than Matt Shepherd, who's currently sitting there in P5. So a long way to go. Trust me, guys, there is a very, very long way to go. As Leroy's suggesting that I was cheating to get my win in Cup. Absolutely, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. I mean, I've been running grip hacks for ages. How do you think I've got podiums so far this season? Just no one's caught me because I'm not fast enough, even with grip hacks. But safety car in this lap 17 of 31. Rico getting very close to back Jamie there. Don't need to be that close behind a safety car, guys. Really, really don't. But, well, this is another interesting one. Matt Roseman, 16 lap old mediums. Yuri did not need this on that soft tyre. He's now still going to make 2 stops. Jacko's still going to make 2 stops. And we're running out of safety cars. So they've now desperately got to clear Matt Roseman on this lap. So this isn't a case of last time around where they were fighting for the playoff point. This is now fighting for who's going to finish on the podium. Because Matt Roseman can get this one restarted as soon as he wants. Waiting, straighten the car up and off he goes now. Here we go. Where's the attack coming from behind? Does Yuri go down the inside into turn 1? Not close enough. Behind. Jacko blocking from Baza as they battle over P3 and P4. Looks as though everyone making their way around. We've got a couple of change of position as Ben Harriet gets up past Rico and Splinter gets up past Jess. Now, Yuri goes deep, Matt Roseman goes deep, Yuri goes up the inside, takes the lead. That's exactly what he needed. Now, does Jacko follow him through? He's going to have to throw it up the inside. He needs to get past Matt Roseman. Matt wants to be leading this one, so he's still going to fight it. We've got a yellow flag. How is Rico in the wall on the main straight? But we've got a yellow flag for them as round the outside goes Jacko into the wall as well, and that's going to put Matt Roseman into the wall as they tagged, and it was almost like a ricochet effect, and that's going to put, unfortunately, Matt Roseman out, well, effectively to the back of this one, and a new wing coming his way as well. And that was very wide from Matt Shepherd. Bazza completely skips the chicane, gets 3 seconds for it. Yeah, I could agree with that one, but oh, that's a real shame for Matt Roseman. Nothing he could have done about that at all. He tried to go side by side with Jacko. Jacko hit the Tech Pro. The Tech Pro basically sprung him back out onto the circuit. Matt Shepherd's going to try and go down the inside of Bazza and gets his nose chopped off right in front of him. So this one is still all to play for, because the guys that have stopped have really already got an advantage over the likes of Yuri and Jacko, who yet to do mandatories. So do we see the pair of them coming in at the end of this lap to get off those soft tyres and make it? I mean, at some point we've got to have some green flag racing. And yeah, there we go, making the smart decision as Bazza feigns going into the pit lane, and all he does there is cost himself time because he put himself wildly offline going into the final 2 corners. So he's going to lose 1 position and perhaps even a second to Jamie Bromley, and yes, he does. Jamie Bromley gets up the inside, and Bazza, unfortunately, that one didn't work, son, and just tags the rear left of Jamie Bromley and loses the rear end. But lucky to get away with that one. But that does release Matt Shepherd into the lead. Jamie Bromley now into second position. Bazza 10 laps on the medium tyres. He's in P3. Harry Collier is somehow now in P4. And Marcus Schneider is somehow in P5. But Yuri now out. And with a heap of work to do. Oh, I have no idea which way this one's going to go. Legitimately, I couldn't tell you, as people seem to be throwing it off the track. They seem to be making strange strategy calls. Bazza's sitting there on a penalty. Who knows? Who knows? And the Welshman sitting not far off the back of Splinter, but needs to get within DRS range to really challenge. He's 1.3 off the back, and God, my word, that was close for Bazza as he almost just drove straight into the Armco barrier, and he's lost himself about 0.8 of a second there. So he's lucky that didn't take the front right off. And well, Splinter is now starting to fall just outside, and he's bouncing around that 1 second window. In fact, he's just got it within 7/8 tenths, so a good run there through the start of the bus stop chicane. But it is imperative now for Matt Shepherd to break Splinter from the toe, so he can start to really push and not worry about the DRS behind, because Jamie on 3-lap mediums will have the tyre advantage and speed advantage. We know Jamie's already set a fastest lap in this race, and we know that he's quick around here. But into the box comes Bazza. So is that a front wing change for Bazza, or is it a change of tyres just under green? As he makes just the slowest roll down, 37 miles an hour, not 34, apologies, that's 35 in Silverstone, 37 here in Silverstone, here in Singapore, and it is a new front wing for Bazza. As Yuri into the box as well, so a set of mediums to the end for Yuri, so he decides to go for the double stop. So not a bad move there from Yuri. Get rid of the softs, go onto a set of mediums to run to the end, and hopefully have a safety car to close back up again, because he's going to fall way down the order. Back up at the front, 0.4 of a second is now the gap, so Matt Shepherd's lost that gap advantage that he had to Jamie Bromley. And oh well, where does this go? Because Matt Shepherd will need to make another stop. Jamie Bromley, I believe, needs to make another stop as well, as Matt Shepherd has already expended his battery defending from Splinter. So he's going to go deep into this corner a little bit, so it's going to open the door for Jamie just to close up. Just corner by corner, just taking a hundredth off, a couple of hundredths off. You just want to get closer and closer. And there we go, you can see right on the gearbox. This isn't an overtaking place, really. You kind of have to sit here and wait. There's only really, I mean, you can make a move into turn 1 if you're close enough and if you have massive overspeed, but it's really the exit turn 5 all the way through to turn 7 that you'll see the majority of the overtakes done, as Jamie's going to sit here. Don't light up the tyres too early, and now he can use the battery and some DRS. He's going to pull to the inside, but he's not going to be close enough. You can see Matt Shepherd doesn't even need to defend this one, as they don't straddle the curb on the outside that you can do. You can't really kind of straddle the whole thing. Oh, Jamie kicks the rear end out on the power early. We know that Jamie runs no traction control, so he's very, very careful with his throttle input. Now DRS is used, and he's got a heap of battery, so this one should be like watching Max Verstappen blast past Lewis Hamilton. And there we go, up into the lead goes Splinter on lap 21 of 31. Matt Shepherd's going to try and come back at him, but I don't think he's going to have any tyre life, as Jamie's going to hold the inside line, cuts off the apex, makes it difficult, and he can now use that tyre advantage to break away and break a gap ahead of Matt Shepherd. And Matt Shepherd, he's really always been on the cusp of this sort of this race win, this podium, and it never seems to fall his way. But I do hope that he can see this one through to the end. I don't believe in a commentator's curse, by the way. It's bad driving. It's nothing to do with a commentator. I'm just watching you do it. But Matt Shepherd now 0.6 of a second behind. Harry Collier 9.5 seconds, so you can see the massive gap now. 9.7, 17 seconds now back to Ben Harrett, who has made a stop. Jacko has made a stop as well, same as Yuri. So the pair of them came off their tyres, so they've done their mandatories, and they will be hunting down this gap. So if you look at it, really, it's around about a 27-second gap, so that is very much in range if you're Jacko and Ben Harrett, as Marco Schneider exits the race at the old, it's the exit of, or he's on the bridge, so he's somehow binned it on the middle of the bridge. I don't know anymore. It's Kia. I don't know. It's not my fault. Don't blame me. We've got another safety car. 21 of 31. Here we go. Another safety car. Great sponsorship for CrowdStrike. And it's going to be Jamie Bromley for Matt Shepherd from Harry Collier, Ben Harrett, Jacko, Yuri, Bazza. This is exactly what they wanted. This has worked perfectly if you're them. As Marco leaves us. That leaves us 10 for the evening, and this is why we need another 10 drivers. Would be nice to have 17 of you restarting instead of just the 10 of you. But does anyone come in and go on to a set of, do we see Rico? Has he got a set of mediums to go on to? Because if I was Rico, I'd come on and put a set of mediums on now. Softs aren't going to get you to the end, they will burn and die. But does he come on to a set of mediums? No. So Rico's going to decide to stick out on the hards. Jess on the mediums as well. Matt Roseman, we're kicking himself. He had a really decent run to start this one. I said it last week. He has really solid opening starts of races, and then something inevitably falls apart for him. As OKK leaves us for the evening. Thank you very much, Michael. Real shame to have you drop out, but I'm sure you'll be watching along. As we've got several. So yeah, it was orange rear wing for Marco Schneider. That's what happens when you reverse into a wall. But unfortunately for Marco, it means he leaves us at the lap 20 stage. Just don't worry, guys. Just 11 laps left to go. I'm sure you can make it. I mean, there is definitely an opportunity for a massive crash to take out at least 4 cars, but I'm sure we can make it. What have we been going for so far? Can anyone tell how long's the stream been going for so far? It feels like it's been going on forever. 1 minute and 14, or 1 hour and 14 minutes. Sorry. So and we've still got a heap of racing left to go. So that's what happens when we've got safety cars. So if commentating on the longest race on the F1 calendar in terms of track length and lap time really was hard enough on your own, do it with 5 safety cars. I love commentating. I love commentating on my own. I especially love commentating here at Kia, because I can just be a little bit more relaxed than what I can do when I'm presenting or commentating in real life. I can poke fun at you guys and just make fun of this insane thing that we're doing, just playing a video online with people that maybe you might never meet. Some people you might be going go-karting with on Saturday, and if you are heading down to Thruxton, I'm very much looking forward to meeting you. I will be there. I will be expecting you to all move aside and letting me win. And yes, I am one of those people that brings all their own stuff and pretends like they know what they're doing. But yeah, looking forward to that. The majority of the JACKOCAR and various other alumni will be coming down to Thruxton and going to the Thruxton kart circuit in a couple of days' time on Saturday. And we'll be celebrating Kieran Spears, Cup Series driver, turning 18 last weekend. So happy belated birthday, Kieran. Congratulations for finally becoming a slightly bigger child. But well, it means you get full-on abuse now, and we really don't get abuse for having a go at a child. It's not bullying against children. It's very much just full-on abuse now. So Kieran's in for it. I'm expecting to get heaps from Jacko on Thursday, because that's exactly what he deserves. And in fact, whilst we've got some time, I'd like to pick up on Mr. Hasselager and Mr. Ricketts in the Cup Series last week. Now, I was very complimentary of the majority of you last week. I may have given you some driver profiles, but I had slander, abuse, laughter at my expense. The fastest member in Team Speed had to put up with all of this, whilst I was strategically placing myself in positions to make sure I could win the race on my Joker, letting the second fastest member of Team Speed, Speed Iceman, through. And then what did I get? Abuse. It was horrendous. And I will be putting in a formal complaint. You wouldn't hear that sort of language and that sort of laughter or any sort of discreditory information coming from me. And what I have noticed here, Matt Shepherd, why have you not got a front wing? When did that happen? You can follow the safety car in. You get a penalty for it, but he's going to have to do a lap because Splinter's going to get it restarted. He's going a little bit early, but he did increase the pace there, so that might be checked out by JACKOCAR, because he was getting faster and faster and faster, but it is Splinter that gets us restarted. Matt Shepherd is in P2. He's going to be, well, clear him as soon as possible, because if you're Ben Harrett and Jacko, you do not want to get stuck behind him, because he's going to go sailing wide here. That's not what you wanted, and we're going to go 3 wide on the exit. Matt Shepherd's going to he's going to be so quick down this straight with no downforce, but well, here comes the chaos. Ready? And there goes a PNC Bank liveried car. He's going to hang it down the inside, and this is not going to work. Yep, thought so. I mean, he's more than welcome to do it. There's nothing in the rule. Jacko. Awkward silence. Well, Mr. Ricketts at the back of the field, and we've got a safety car. We've got a safety car again. Why? There's debris. There's only 10 cars on the track. Send out one of your marshals to pick up the debris. They've got about 4 hours before the cars get back round again. The circuit is almost as big as the Nürburgring. Right, Splinter leads. Ben Harrett is in P2. Probably has wing damage, or at least side pod damage after that contact with Matt Shepherd. Matt Shepherd, you can pit under the safety car to get a new wing. After causing abject chaos on that restart. Now dive in, please, for the love of God, dive in. There we go. Into the box comes Matt Shepherd. You can go onto a set of softs. So this might help you. Baz is in for a set of softs. Yuri's in for a set of softs. Rico, you could have come in for softs. He's going to stick out there on hard tyres. Jess is in for softs. Jacko's driving around at 2 miles an hour without a front wing. Oh, the banana is not going right tonight, and he will be in, I'm sure, unless he's going for the high downforce setup. He's going to run over the white line on the entry. That's a 5-second penalty, but he does get it stopped. So I mean, this has got chaos written all over it, hasn't it? We've got 5 cars on soft tyres. We've got 5 cars on medium and hard tyres, and we got what is going to be about 4 laps left to go at the end of this race. Leroy, save me. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Oh, who knows? Here we go. Splinter leading from Ben Harrett. Ben Harrett, how is he back up here? Can he get his? It would be his first JACKOCAR win if he can take this one from Splinter. I don't believe he's got a Kia Series win. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a Kia Series win. I know that Mike Kelterborn has, one of the ART drivers, when he came down from Cup to Kia. In fact, it was around here as well. So do we see another ART race winner here at Singapore? Harry Collier, well, he was half a lap down earlier, and he's now up in P3. Rico's going to be running around on hard tyres. Newgarden is on 6-lap-old medium, so those tyres will easily get him to the end. He's now sitting mid-pack, so a podium is not out of the question for Matt. Matt Shepherd, after just being a rolling roadblock earlier, is maintained 6th position. Jess now P7 because we had a front wing change for Bazza, Yuri and for Jacko. Jacko's going to have to get a move on because I imagine the safety car will be coming in at the end of the next lap. It's not going to come in this time around. Nope, lights are still on and it's rounding the final corner now. So Jamie Bromley running his usual livery that we see, the pink and the orange, his daughter's favourite colours, as Jacko decides to end it in the wall on the exit of turn 14. Is that an intentional crash? That's a race ban. Let's call it a race ban. Jack Rickett's out the race. Safety car still out. Lap plenty. 26 of 31. Still loads of racing left to come. Do stick with us. I know I'm playing this up, but do stick with us. It's going to be a very interesting end to this one. Will we get a new race winner in Kia? Will it be? Well, Splinter's won plenty. But Ben Harrett, Harry Collier, Rico Beckenkamp, Matt Roseman, of course, race winner already last season. First ever race win back in Monaco when he was gifted the race win by Yuri on the last lap in Monaco. Can he get it himself? He's going to have to do some overtaking from P5. Matt Shepherd, what can he do on the soft tyres? Equally, Jess is in a really good position. This is where Jess needs to go elbows out. And I know this isn't in Jess's sort of... it's not her style of racing. She tends to try and stay out the way, just do her thing. But this is where you've got such a massive tyre advantage. You really do have to make the people in front of you feel difficult. Make them feel like they have to jump out the way by throwing it down the inside, getting in their mirrors, making sure that you're pushing them into mistakes. If you're Jess, if you're Matt Shepherd, you need to be doing that because otherwise you're not going to be making your way forward. It's too hard to overtake around here. And with DRS, it's going to be at a premium because we are only going to get it maybe a lap or two before the end of this one. If you're Jess, if you're Matt Shepherd, if you're Bazza, you've got to do things back there from P6. Davis said it's going to be a Newgarden win. We're going to have some fireworks for that to happen. Splinter's going to get us restarted. I could not tell you who's led the most laps. Because I think it's going to be very evenly split. Matt Roseman probably up there, but Splinter's going to be taking quite a few as well with his safety car restarts. But safety car restart. Safety car is in. It's coming in. It's rounding the final 3 corners now. Jamie Bromley can very much dictate the pace now, so he can go as fast or slow as he wants, as long as he's not gunning it early. Of course, you can't go before the DRS detection line. Waiting. Don't go yet, Jamie. This is far too fast. Keep it at a consistent pace. Waiting. Off he goes. And it's a good restart, however. Ben Harrett, who's already tucked up behind him. Now, does he think about it? No, he doesn't. He thinks, I can get you. Oh, you can't get him by doing that. But what he does do is hold on to P2. Ben Harrett just about, with a massive amount of opposite lock, holds on to it going into turn 1. But what it does mean is that Jamie Bromley can breathe a sigh of relief because he's not going to get an attack on this lap from Ben Harrett in P2. Of course, the winner of this gets an automatic entrance into the playoffs well, as long as it's not one of our guest drivers. So if Ben Harrett gets it, he won't get to go to the Kia playoffs unless he wants to, I guess. And he can S-house his way into the Kia Series Championship 5. Harry Collins held on to P3. Rico has now been passed by Matt Shepherd, so Matt Shepherd is on the move. Marco Schneider out of this race earlier on. He had rear wing damage, and this is where he gained it as he went out of this corner, lost it into the wall. But this time around, Matt Shepherd has decided he's going to go on the offensive, and this is exactly what I said he needed to do, because Jess has lost positions to Yuri, but Matt Shepherd knows that he needs to get a move on now. He needs to try and push the pedal down and close up to the front of these guys, because we've got Splinter and Ben Harritt now leading, but 1.8 seconds is Matt Shepherd's gap between the front of them. So don't use all the tyre just yet. Save a little bit later, because he's already used 60% of his battery. You need to save a little bit more as Harry Collier and Rico are fighting their way over P4, P5, Newgarden P6. Now Yuri hasn't made any positions apart from Jess on the restart, but Matt Shepherd now well within reaches, because into the box comes Splinter. He had that mandatory stop to make, so that releases Ben Harritt into the lead as we've got a yellow in the final corner, and it's Newgarden and it's Matt Roseman that have collected each other, so they are in to the pits as well for a new wing change. So it's all falling apart for Matt Roseman. Davis, you've clearly a terrible prediction. Do not go in predicting the lottery numbers anytime soon. Here we go, Matt Shepherd, this is your time for a race when he's tucked up right behind Ben Harritt. Ben is moving around trying to make that car as wide as possible, but Matt Shepherd decides against it this time around. He can use those tyres. He's down now to 14% battery, so he might need a lap just to recover a little bit of battery here. Don't go too hard too early, because you've still got the tyre advantage. Or does he think, I'm going to overtake you now and break DRS toe? Because you can see a bad line there from Ben Harritt into the old Singapore sling. Now onto the bridge. Don't get on the power too early, because you'll lose the back end. Thinks about the inside, thought about it, but Ben covered the inside line on the battery, so he's trying to get the move done early, but Matt Shepherd is being held up by a staunch defensive drive here from Ben Harritt, who's doing a great job at holding that car in the right position to make sure that Matt Shepherd doesn't take his first ever race win here in JACKOCAR and taking him his way all the way to the playoffs in a few weeks' time. He's going to go deep, and he just about misses the wall, and this is what I was talking about. Don't launch yourself into this too early. You've still got time to make it. Think about this carefully. Pick your moments, pick your overtakes, and into the box. So he had a mandatory stop to make. But that's unfortunate for Matt Shepherd. This is why I needed to be keeping an eye. So what that does do is release Yuri. So Yuri now becomes the de facto P2. Rico P3. Jess now looking at P4. So Jess is eyeing up a podium, which is a great position for her to be in. She's made her mandatories. So Ben Harritt now, he's now got to make 2 laps to hold on to a 3.4 second advantage. Yuri's taken half a second out of him already, but those tyres will be dying at the end of this one. Jess is now on the offensive up against Rico. Rico's used his battery. Jess, don't get off the throttle. Don't get off the throttle. And that's allowing Bazza up the inside as they're going to go side by side. Bazza gets out of it. Jess has to go wide. And Jess had to just go for it there. She got out the throttle. She was too worried about Barry behind and not in what was happening in front of her. And that meant that it allows Rico to break that gap again. So Jess, you've got so much battery. Just use it and abuse it for these last 2 laps, as Rico's going to be all over the place on those hard tyres. The gap isn't coming down at the front of this one. So Ben Harritt, it looks as though he's on his way to winning here in Kia. And perhaps this is his tier. Perhaps we should move him down. I think we should move him down. Get rid of some of those ART guys. But here we go. Jess on the battery. Bazza's on the battery as well, but he's already utilised way more than Jess has. So Jess has got the advantage here. She really needs to go on the offensive. She needs to stop worrying about what Bazza's doing behind her and start focusing on what Rico's doing in front of her. So Bazza's going to sit there and he can watch Jess, and he can probably even follow her through if she goes on an attack. And he goes deep there, almost collects the wall in the entry at turn 18. But this is where Jess needs to think about this tactically. Think about where you're going to make the overtake, because you've got the pace, you've got the tyre advantage, and you've got the battery and the speed. So Jess now, here we go. Get on that battery. Rico's going to hold the inside line. Now this is where, stick with it. Don't pull out. Don't pull out. There we go. Lovely move there from Jess. Holds onto the line, runs around the outside and takes the racing line up into P3. Baz is on that penalty as well. So this is very much the battle for the final step of the podium. So this would be an extra playoff point coming the way of Jess at the moment. Rico's just falling off it. He's got DRS, of course, but Bazza's now going to be attacking him from behind. And Bazza's going to be a little bit more ruthless than Jess was. Rico's got no battery left, so they're both on 0%. Bazza is going to go a little bit deep as he didn't quite commit to the move, so he put himself offline. And these tyres, the softs, will be hurting now, so they will be coming towards the end of their life. You can see Yuri hasn't really made up any time. That 3.3 second advantage has stayed pretty much consistent throughout this one. As Jacko says, it wasn't an intentional crash, by the way. No, just rubbish at the game. But so Ben Harritt leading from Yuri. Jess now in P3. Bazza is chasing down Rico. Rico holding on to a solid P4. Bazza, you can see, starting to lose tyre life as he's starting to go deep into a lot of corners. As we look back at that rear tyre, as Yuri gets a 3-second time penalty. So if Jess could get a move on, she could have closed in, but it is 6 seconds. So Yuri can afford that time. And, well, if I was Yuri, I would have done that. Cut a chicane and got yourself a 3-second time penalty. Maybe not just a corner or two, and gained up a little bit more time on Ben Harritt, so you could at least have an attack on him onto the final lap. But onto the final lap does come Ben Harritt, and Mr. Ricketts, I'm sure you'll be able to tell me, has Ben Harritt won a race here in Kia? I don't believe he has. So is this potentially a first ever JACKOCAR branded race win for Ben for Spurs 96? And, well, he's got one more tour of this Marina Bay circuit. 5 kilometres to go for him. And he's just got to keep it out of the walls. Yuri is now 2 seconds behind. So for some reason, Yuri's decided to put the afterburners on the final lap of the race. As Ben's got 25% battery to burn. And you can see he's taking it very, very easy. As he makes his way around the first sector into the second sector. And that gap now 1.8 seconds, so Yuri is getting closer. But I think Ben Harritt is just making sure he coaxes this one to the line to take the checkered flag. And what would be a crazy race win after what we've seen tonight, because into the wall goes Rico. And he's going to drop down. Oh, what a shame. And Matt Shepherd is out of the race as well. He's collected him. What on earth has happened here? Rico is going to be on the... Matt Shepherd has gone into the wall. Rico is recovered. So Matt Shepherd is into the wall and out of the race on the final lap of this one. He's going to be kicking himself. That is another car out, so that means that we're down to 9 cars. Rico now out of the race as well. What is that? Into the wall on the exit of on the entry to the bridge. We've lost 2 people. These are valuable points, guys, that you're losing on the last few corners of the race. But, well, here we go. Final 2 corners for Ben Harritt. He is your JACKOCAR Kia Series race winner at Singapore, taking the race win. Congratulations to Ben Harritt. Yuri, P2, he'll be happy with that. Jess will be delighted with P3. Fantastic result for her. Bazza is going to come home in P4, or is he? Because Jamie Bromley is right on the back of him. Jamie's going to tuck to the inside. He might actually get him on the line here. It's going to be close. It is Bazza that takes it, but Jamie Bromley gets him on the penalty. In fact, it was, what's that, 41 thousandths of a second. Harry Collier takes 3 seconds. Speed Newgarden recovers to P6 because of the crashes. Harry Collier is going to have to try and... Oh, we're going to enjoy this. Oh. 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 Oh, there we go. Oh, oh, are we going to get there? Oh, keep going. Those tyres don't want to. Don't push around the final corner. You will go backwards. There we go. Lovely. Harry Collier to the line. P7. And ends the race. Congratulations to our 7 winners of the Hunger Games of JACKOCAR. Ben gets driver of the day, comes from the back of the grid to take the race win, and as he should do as the Cup Series driver, he's not getting any credit. He should have been winning this by 20-30 seconds. But Ben Harritt, your race winner here in Kia, as points for Harry. Yeah, he does get points for Harry. Yeah, he does. Just styles it out on the last lap. But congratulations goes to Cup Series driver, ART, Ben for Spurs, Ben Harritt. he wins the lower tier race. Let that sink in. Stat padding. That's all I'm saying. But congratulations nonetheless. He takes the race win in, oh my word, 64 minutes and 34 seconds. That's one to beat, isn't it? Over an hour here in Singapore. Yuri in second place with a 3-second time penalty to his name. We had 5 safety cars in that one. 12th on the grid. Yuri holds position in second. Jess all the way up from P9. Fantastic result for her. Splinter coming from last on the grid with the fastest lap as well, so he takes a point or play point for that. Bazza in P5. Nugon P6. Harry Collier your final finisher. Then no points, nil points for Wasabi, for Rico, for Matt Shepherd, for Jacko, for Marco Schneider, for OKK, and for Michelle Gorish. Your points leader coming into this round. And thus ends tonight's Destruction Derby, brought to you live by JACKOCAR. Well, what a race it's been. I can't quite believe that we managed to get through that with so many safety cars and still managed to maintain seven of you out of the 13 that started. Let's make it 20 of you that start the next one. Let's have a few more drivers on the grid. That would be nice, and I will go back to calling you professionally. I'm just joking, I won't, but I'll bring it semi-professional. If there's more of you, there's an incentive. But hope you did all enjoy this one. It was a bit of a race of attrition tonight, and Ben Harriott was the one that came out at the end of it. He thought after that contact with Matt Shepherd that there was no chance left in that one, but congratulations goes out to him. He will be, I'm sure, thrilled with that. He can add his name to the JACKOCAR Hall of Fame for race winners here in Kia. Can he make it a cup win over on Thursday and make his put his name on a very short list of drivers that won in Cup in Kia? I am on that list, by the way. Not bragging, but you know, fastest driver in team speed. But however, for this week and for tonight, thank you very much for joining us. We will be back next week for Throwback Week in Mexico City, so be prepared to see some different liveries popping up, and hopefully a few more cars and a few more finishes. We all love street tracks, don't we? And we all love Singapore. However, for tonight, thank you very much for joining us. Hope you've all enjoyed it. Make sure you drop into the video, watch it back. Let us know if you've enjoyed it in the comments. Of course, like the video, subscribe if you're new, or if you're not already, don't be lazy. It does help us out massively. And of course, go to @JACKOCAR on Twitter for Jack Ricketts himself, and @JACKOCAR2, that's the number 2 on Twitter, for all information regarding Kia from none other than Mr. Michael OKK and Ben Shaw, who will be looking after that account. But, well, what a race. What a race. That's JACKOCAR, and we love it. We'll see you next week. Good night.